lovers. I'm Jen.
And I'm Stephen James.
And we have a very special guest for you today. We met him at the Vault, originally opened up for Art of Anarchy. The band was playing they're called Praise the Fallen. And we'd love to introduce you to Jamie Bosstel. How are you today? Welcome to Toon Talk.
All right. How you guys doing? I'm all right.
Fantastic. So I had mentioned you guys played at the Vault where we met you guys, and unfortunately we kind of ran out of time and stuff to do an interview there, but we are so happy that you're with us here today.
Awesome.
So I have to point out, I usually am really super busy when I'm at the Vault, so I don't really pay a whole lot of attention, but I did actually pay attention. And Praise the Fallen, you guys sound, there's a familiarity to it, but yeah, it's so unique. There's a tone in your voice that I absolutely love. And another thing that I really love, because you're also in another band with your last name, Bosstel, is the drums. There's something about it, and I really fell in love with it. You have a lot of unique sounds in your music. So let's talk a little bit about your music. What were your influences, and how did you get to where you are now?
I honestly don't know. I started out, I was in band in school. It started out fourth grade playing trumpet, and I was in marching band in high school, and the cool kids were the drummers, so I hung out with the drummers, and I actually wanted to be a drummer, and I actually learned how to play drum kit before I was a singer. I grew up in Chesterton, Indiana, and I went to the military. I was in the Air Force. And I went ahead and ended up in California, Sacramento, California. And I was focused on being a drummer in my spare time. But I also dabbled with I dabbled with keyboards and 4-track recorders. So I was doing little demo tapes, recording stuff back when I was 15 years old. A friend of mine used to go to music stores and we'd rent equipment. And I'm talking like Alesis equipment and real technical stuff where you had to actually know numbers and stuff. It was ridiculous. He knew how to do that stuff, and drum machines and stuff. And I was fascinated by the keyboards and stuff. And it was just my best friend and I, we were just doing little songs, and somebody had to sing them. So I sang, and I didn't even know how to sing really. I just sang, just did it to be a part of the demo basically. But that's backtracking before the Air Force and stuff. I was in the Air Force. I ended up entering this battle of bands. I met a guy in the Air Force. He played guitar. He knew I was doing these little demos, like little cassette tapes, 4-track recordings with keyboards and drum machines, and doing a little singing. It was like Depeche Mode stuff, though. It was like, because what can you do with keyboards and drum machines, but like electronic music, So I was just doing that stuff in my spare time, making little songs. Well, he played guitar, and I met him. And long story short, he needed a singer for his band. They had a battle of the bands. It's crazy story. I'll try to make it short. They had a singer. What it was is this music store in California. They had a battle of bands. And what they did is they had people from different states, different cities. They pulled these people together and they said, okay, you got 3 months, write 3 songs. You get the idea. Take these people from different areas, make them work together, do 3 songs. The winner gets to record in the studio. I can't remember all the prizes, but the judges were like, I believe it was like Jeff Pilson from Dokken was one of them.
Awesome.
And somebody. And I remember I was just doing little demos, in my dorm, literally, like when I was in the military on the side, and I was still focused on being a drummer, So I guess I was doing everything really, young and hungry, just doing whatever.
Right.
Just a hobby, basically. But I guess what happened is crazy. His singer was from Chicago. He entered this contest through this music store, and he literally called me the night before. He's like, dude, our singer's wife went into labor.
Oh, wow.
To sing tomorrow at this Battle of the Bands. I've got the lyrics. All you do is you just got to show up tonight to rehearsal space. You're all I got, dude. We second place.
Awesome.
For the first, well, I shouldn't say that wasn't my first time singing on stage. It was my second time singing in front of my first time singing in front of a big crowd. The very first time I ever sang, I entered the talent contest in high school, and we did Talk Dirty to Me by Poison.
All right.
Bass on the keyboards. We had a guy play guitar, and a friend of mine played drums, and I sang. We didn't win. We got disqualified because I cussed on the microphone.
Jeez.
But the kids thought I was cool. Anyway, but my second experience was being in front of Jeff Pilson from Dokken, and I think it was somebody from Night Ranger too as one of the judges. And I'm in California, and the guy was like, the guitar player's like, "You're our singer now." I'm like, "Okay, I get a singer. Let me know when you need a drummer." But I ended up singing in California, and then I came back home to Chesterton. It's kind of funny. My cousin was a manager of this band. He's a manager. Kind of funny. He wore this biker jacket and smoking cigarettes, and I'm the manager of the band. There's a cover band called Anthem, and we were playing Valparaiso University, playing frat houses, frat parties.
Nice.
Yep. I ended up singing, and I just did covers doing that. Honestly, I come from a small town, Chesterton, and I think it was just, me growing up doing band and stuff. It was just something to do, something to do. Sports wasn't for me. I was already in band. I already wrapped up in all my band friends. I'm around music constantly, and I, just had a passion for it. I was listening to bands like Genesis and Rush and Yes, which isn't something a normal 13-year-old is listening to,
Right.
to prog music, and most people are listening to Poison. I listen to that stuff too, White Rose, stuff like that. Sebastian Bach was one of my influences. When I started singing, I was like, I want to sing like that. That dude's a and David Coverdale. So I guess I'm showing my age here a little bit, but
and we're in your wheelhouse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And my first concert was Donnie Marie Osmond. But my second concert was Poison. I saw Poison and I was hooked. And then as I announced, I saw Lynch Mob and Warrant. I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I want to be a front of that. I saw that and I was like, I want to be like that guy. And then I don't know, I just ended up being a singer because I could sing, and everybody wanted me to sing for them. Hey man, we need a singer, come sing for us, that kind of thing. And band after band, I was in a band in '93 called Rain Will Fall, and we did a little demo tape, and I sang for them. That was like a 6-piece band, and we went to open jams, and I actually played the Thirsty Whale in Chicago, which is a place Guns N' Roses played.
Awesome.
I think it was like my third show with Rain Will Fall. I played with Clutch and Monster Magnet, and I didn't even know it. I had no idea. I didn't even know who they were. It was like when they first came out.
Right.
And that was like 1993 was I would say that was my first real original band. And then, I don't know, I just got into writing original music. I was just a singer now in these bands. And, I stuck with a guitar player for a while, and he quit. Then you're without a band. You're like, okay, well, what do? I find another band to join. I'm singing. But then little by little, I was taking an acoustic guitar and writing songs. My next band, let me think here. My next band was let me go back. The band before Rain Will Fall, I was in a band called Dance Macabre when I came here to South Bend. It was a metal band. And we did covers and stuff. But these guys were like, we want to write originals. I was like, all right, well, I could play drop D acoustic. Hung out with musicians, and I just said, show me the easiest way to play guitar. If you play guitar, Steven, that's the easiest way.
Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to, come up with my own ideas, but I wasn't a guitar player.
Right.
So I played what I heard in my head to my band, and I would be like, okay, this is how it goes. You play guitar, you go ahead and do it. I'll just, here's the idea. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to play guitar. I just wanted to sing, but I had these ideas that I could somewhat do on the acoustic. I come to practice and go, this is how it goes, show them that. And it came together. That was that band. After that band was Rainbow Fall. Then after Rainbow Fall, I was in a grunge band called Dead on Sunday. And we did covers and originals. And that was in the 90s when we had like Live and Filter and Nirvana and again, I was, in my spare time sitting mainly with my acoustic. I wrote most of the time on my acoustic guitar, and again, I would just sit on a stool at practice and say, this is how it goes. You go ahead and play guitar. And I did that. Then I'm trying to think after that band. Oh, I ended up joining a band in 97 called Digpin. That stuff's actually streaming. I actually remastered it and put that. And my biggest show at that band, I played the Riviera Theater in Chicago. There's about 900 people there.
Awesome.
Yeah, Digpin didn't really open for any nationals, not that I remember. Oh, wait, yeah, we did do a show at a place called Hoi Polloi in South Bend with Skillet. But Skillet was not Skillet, who they are now. I don't know if you go back when Skillet first came out, they were like acoustic poppy, kind of like Small Town Poets or Jars of Clay, because acceptable in Christian music, And this was a Christian club we played. We weren't a Christian band, but they want us to play there. But okay. And I don't know, man. I did hall shows with Rainbow Fall. We did a lot of hall shows. I played, teenage venues, played bars, went to open mics a lot. And then after Digpin, I think I went back to Rainbow Fall. We tried it again, played a party. It didn't work out, whatever. And then my biggest band, I ended up in a band called Signal. We ended up getting sponsored by Jägermeister. The big show of my life that I ever did. I opened for Staind in 3 Days Grace in front of 14.
Awesome.
Prairie Capital Convention Center, 2006. Yeah, we were sponsored by Jägermeister. I actually said to Chuck, I said, man, I think I remember doing a show with you guys because all the Jaeger bands did shows together a lot. That's how I know Alfonso from Heartsick too. They were called No Life. They were another Jaeger band. But I don't know. And that band, Signal, again, I was their singer. There was one song, you can actually check it out on YouTube. It's called Utopia. It was the one song that I wrote, and it was the mellowest song on the album because everything else was heavy and metal and angry, metal. But it was like a ballad. And I wrote the song in 1999. We were playing at a Memorial Day party, campfire kind of thing. And I was playing acoustic and I played the song. And my bass player was like, we're going to do that song. I'm like, nah, no, we're not, dude. We ended up doing that song, and that song ended up getting us down to Atlanta. And we worked with Corey Lowry, who is now in Seether. We played Clint Lowry's brother, recorded a EP. Corey Lowry recorded us down in Atlanta. We actually recorded 2 songs. We have an EP out. I can't remember the name of it right now, but Corey recorded us. Yeah, it's just being around and stuff. Again, like I said, here I am still on the side, just writing songs on the side of my acoustic, not with the band. But then I started to wanted to enhance the sound, and I wanted to play guitar in the band. The guitar player wouldn't let me. He said, "You go ahead and take lessons. I'll let you." And I was like, "That's cool, whatever. I'll just sing your stuff." And I'm writing a bunch of songs. This was '08. The economy crashed. I don't know if you guys remember that. When the economy, we're all out of work. I worked in the RV industry, so we were all out of work. And all I did on a daily basis was sit my acoustic and just write songs like mad. I wrote like 30 songs a week, grinding them out, and I brought him to the band, by no means am I putting the band down or anything, but they had their own agenda. They didn't want to do my songs. Crazy, man. This is a crazy story. They didn't want to do my songs. I was like, that's cool. I'll just find some people that like my songs and I'll do it with them. And I'll just sing with you guys. You guys just go ahead and write the music. We'll keep doing what we're doing. It's no big deal. I'll make this work. And I ended up going to an open mic with a friend of mine that was a drummer, just being around musicians mainly, because you asked me, how did I get to where I'm at? It's a long story.
It's fine.
Being around all these musicians all the time, all my friends are musicians, and, going to open jams with people and mingling with people. But went to open jam with my drummer, and he was a friend who was a drummer. He actually played in a band back in the 90s when I played in Dead on Sunday. I've known him for a long time. And I was like, okay, well, these guys don't want to do my songs. I'll go play my songs at these open mics in front of a crowd and see what they think of it.
Right.
Get an opinion. You know what I mean? So no hard feelings. I was just like, I got this vibe, man. Some people might like this stuff. So let's go find out, Well, I went with my friend and we grabbed a bass player, had a guy who played guitar. We had him play bass for the night. And we just played 4 songs at this open mic. And long story short, John Sturr from Lillian Axe walked in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. I was like, my drummer's jaw was like dropped open. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm up front in the stool with acoustic looking. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, dude, do you know who that is? I'm like, I don't know. He was 52 at the time. He was older. So in the 80s, I was like, I don't know. He goes, dude, that's John Sturr from Lillian Axe. I go, no way, dude. I go, I love the album Psycho Schizophrenia. Now, we were in the midst of me and that drummer. We actually went to a studio and we just cut a little demo tape where it was raw, just me playing acoustic, singing, and him on the drums. And I did a little bit of bass, By no means was I a guitar player I am now, by no means at all. It was just like hungry just to get the idea out. And I figured if I heard it recorded, I could get the vibe of it and maybe find someone else to play the guitar and put the songs together. Because I had a feeling. I'm like, man, what if I'm sitting on a stack of songs my band don't want to do, but I've got songs that I've just got this vibe. What if there's a hit in there, man? You never know, Right. You're gonna know unless you go, get some people, throw it down on tape and see what it sounds like, Right. So I asked John, I was like, dude, would you play guitar on our demo, right? He goes, F that. He goes, we're gonna make a record. I was like, oh my God, really? And that first time, we were in a room together. We were in this little bedroom for like 8 weeks. We worked on 8 songs and we were in there. And it was during the summer. It was July. I'm talking about a small bedroom, man. We were all crammed in there because my drummer, he lived in his house. He had upstairs. His bedroom was really small. So that's where we rehearsed. It was loud. It was cramped. It was hot. But we came up with 8 songs. We went and recorded in St. Joe, Michigan at a friend of John's. Ended up putting the songs on MySpace, and it got a big reaction. And that was the infancy of Praise the Fallen.
Okay.
That Praise the Fallen actually started in 2009. Put it on MySpace, and then the guys in Sigma were like, hey, those are our songs. We want those songs. I was like, well, you didn't want them. They're done now.
Right.
Now heard it complete. You want it, By no means am I talking any shit, but I was like, well, no, these guys liked my songs and they wanted to do them. So, anyway, I'm not trying to get off the path here, but I just fell into that. MySpace was popular at the time.
Right. Good old Tom.
Blasted it up, man, big time for Praise the Fallen. I had Praise the Fallen. I had Signal. Signal gave me an ultimatum, said you can stay with us or go with that. I was like, why can't I do both? They didn't want me doing both. I was like,
oh, wow.
I'm becoming a songwriter. I'm starting to, I remember the first time I went into, I went in the studio after Praise the Fallen did the 8-song album. It's streaming. It's gray. It's got a shield on it, and that I can send it to you. Our very first one. It turned out pretty good. After I heard that, I was like, man, there's no turning back. These out great. What am I going to do 10 years from now? What's my song is going to sound like? And they've just gotten better and better and better, with certain people I played with. But I've been through other bands, and I came back to Praise the Fallen too. Check this out. So John ended up going back to Dallas. He was also in a band called Brand New Machine at the time. I don't know if you've heard them. They're pretty good. Check them out. They're streaming. Okay. Brand New Machine was here at the time, and Praise the Fallen was here. We actually did some shows together and stuff. But the lead singer lived in Dallas, and he wanted John to go back. And John ended up going back to Dallas. So I was without a band. I'm like, all right, now what do I do? It's just funny how stuff happens for me. I'm at Best Buy. I'm just walking in Best Buy looking at CDs, and I run into a guy who plays bass to jam with me. You go through people and you jam with people, and then it don't work out or whatever. I had a little band here, cover band for a minute. It didn't work out. I don't mention that stuff because it didn't last that long or whatever. There's other people I just jammed with,
Right on.
Get your chops up, whatever. But I ended up meeting Jamie Dyer. And then we started Arson Radio. Arson Radio that was 2011, 2010 to 2012. And the country was still struggling from the economy and that. We were both living off unemployment. I had lost my apartment. I lost everything, man. I was living with a drummer. I was just not in a good state of mind. I mean, we made great songs and we were traveling, but we barely had any money to do it. I played in Lansing, Michigan. I played at Uli's, played the Music Factory. We opened for Hinder. There's a video of Arson Radio opening for Hinder at the Music Factory. We actually got offered. I ended up leaving for my own mental well-being. I ended up living with my mom for a while and getting my bearings back, basically getting a job, getting things going again.
Right on.
But in the meantime, I left Arson Radio. We were about to play Kellogg Arena open for Shinedown.
Oh, wow.
When we opened for Hinder, some guy said, hey, would you be interested in opening for Shinedown? I was like, yeah,
right.
Where? He's like, Kellogg Arena. I'm like, what? Yeah, dude. Wow. We saw Hinder. It was impressed. And suddenly this stuff came at me, but my personal life wasn't together, man. I was like practically homeless. I didn't, have any money. I was struggling bad. I was like, I need to get my shit together first. I can't offer nobody nothing. I wasn't in a position to do that. Well, while I was looking for a job, it always happens. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try Chicago. I'm going to go out to Chicago. My friend, the guy that played with me at the open mic, the drummer guy, he moved to Chicago after Praise the Fallen split. He went to Chicago and he got pumped up from me singing and playing guitar. That's when I started to sing and play guitar, was Praise the Fallen. And I started to play electric because John, kind of funny, going back to that rehearsal, I remember being really uncomfortable looking at John. I go, dude, I'm not a guitar player. Please don't judge me, dude. You're MTV, dude. He looks at me, Steve, and he goes, well, what are you holding in your hands there? I go, a guitar. He goes, well, I guess you're a guitar player, aren't you? Makes me feel really good,
No, I understand that completely, man. I mean, I'm kind of in the same. I do the same thing. Like I write my own music and stuff like that, but I'm not much of a guitar player. So I just like, this is how I want it to go. But is it, and then I have to turn to somebody else to say, I need some help, bringing it out to what it needs to be.
Yeah. Then I ended up going to Chicago. I thought I would start a band with that guy. He didn't want to because he was singing and playing guitar in a band. I guess I inspired him. And he's like, no, I like my stuff I'm doing. He's in alternative music and stuff. I was like, well, shit, man. Well, it happened to be his bass player played guitar. He was really good. And he's like, man, he goes, I want you to sing for me. Now, after everything I went through, Signal, Praise the Fallen, every band falling apart, I was just like, are you sure about that?
Right.
You sure you want to play with me, man? I'm not having the best luck here, And he's like, yeah, I've heard you, man. I was like, okay. I ended up forming a band called Blind Spot. with this guy. They have rehearsal spaces in Chicago, like buildings designated. They have rooms where bands rehearse, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I moved back to South Bend because I got a job in the RV industry again. I was making good money, and I was driving to Chicago every weekend for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Like an hour and a half, pretty much. And even in the wintertime, too.
Right.
Sometimes train to get out there.
Uh,
And one thing led to another. We got offered to open for Quiet Riot at Hartford Motor Speedway at the racetrack in Hartford, Michigan. And I don't know what happened. Our drummer got stage fright or something. He's like, dude, I can't do that show. It's my grandma's birthday. I'm like, I need a drummer. Well, I can't remember who. Some music friend told me I got this guy who's a session player. I paid this guy $200 to play. He learned all the songs. He learned the set within a week. We practiced like once, and we opened for Quiet Riot. And the show went off with a hitch. But this drummer was claiming, he's like, man, there's no rock in Chicago. He goes, you guys rock. I'm like, you want to join the band? He ended up being a session player, and he worked for a Grammy-nominated producer named Chris Steinmetz. You see all the luck I'm having here? I'm just like, right place, right time. I keep running into the people, but then bad things happen. Check this out. I'm like, okay. So his name was Dan. I won't say his last name, but Dan, he goes, dude, I got chips. He said, I got chips stacked with this guy's named Chris Steinmetz, Grammy nominated. He was actually in the basement of the same studio where Disturbed did their Sickness album.
Oh, no.
Johnny upstairs. Chris Steinmetz was in the basement. Now, somebody else you might know also worked with Chris Steinmetz, a bass player by the name of Chips Enough from Enough's Enough.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Enough's Enough, right?
Yeah.
Here I am, dude. I'm just recording my stuff with Blind Spot. Chips Enough's here, Grammy nominated producer Chris Steinmetz. He did the Kiss Revenge record. He's worked with Rihanna. He's done Twista. He worked with White Lion. I just happened to be there because I grabbed a drummer, paid him $200 to open for Quiet Riot. He joins my band, but he actually is the session player for the studio.
Wow.
So he talks us into going there. Chris Steinmetz was like, where did you find this guy? He's talking about me, right? Now, going back to Signal, by no means am I talking shit. The reason why that band fell apart, we had a record deal. It was Dirtbag Records. You remember Dirtbag Clothing?
Yeah, fairly. Yeah, it sounds familiar.
They still have that. We're actually sponsored by them.
Okay.
Dirtbag Clothing started a label, and basically took a bunch of bands, threw it on the wall, and see what would stick, right? And they told us, we want song stems. I want a verse. I want a chorus. I don't care if it's on acoustic, jam box, whatever you can do. I want to see you guys are being productive. Well, I went ahead and put the CD together, a bunch of songs. A bass player had gotten a girl pregnant. I'm not going too far into it, but he got a girl pregnant, so he was dealing with some shit. So the band wasn't getting together and rehearsing. So I figured I'd save the day, put the CD together, give it to our manager. Little did I know that the next time we ended up working with a producer, he's like, I want everything you guys got. I want to hear everything that you guys have done because we're going to make one solid record out of all your best stuff.
Awesome.
Okay. Through pre-production, and the manager was like, he threw that disc in that I made with all our other CDs. Well, the producer, the guy that was going to make our record, he also had I guess he had ties with Three Doors Down's manager or something like that. We had some big things going on. They were my songs. They were my songs. And he started rattling off the songs. I like this song. I like this song. I like this song. I was like, They're like, well, this guy don't know what he's talking about. Let's go to the next producer. The next producer, same thing. It kept happening, which opened my eyes where I was like, okay, maybe I'm on to something here.
Right.
Maybe I'm on my own trail. And that's how Praise the Fallen started. I was going back a little bit to tell you that story. But everywhere I went, that happened. With Chris Steinmetz, he had said to Dan, he goes, "Where did you find this guy? This guy's a great songwriter. These are great songs." And he's like, "He's from Indiana, man." And he's like, this dude worked with David Lee Roth and stuff. And I guess he worked for a Chicago recording company. And he was starting at the bottom again. And he was, because, you know, the industry's changed and stuff. It's not so much a demand anymore because we have our own home recording studios too. I do too, you know. And he was like, "Man, this guy could get me, this album could get us up in the totem pole again. This is solid stuff." I was amped, man. I was like, wow, this guy really believes in me. Long story short, the guy was like, "Okay, I know you guys rehearse every weekend. You guys come out here every week on Fridays. Why don't you just come here, treat me like your cell phone bill and just pay me every Friday and we'll get a record done on the cheap, man, like $25 per person. That's $100 a session for a Grammy nominated producer, man."
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, long story short, the guitar player was doing cocaine the first session and blew it for me.
Oh, no.
So I was like, "Hey, man, no big deal. We can still get the record done. I'm the songwriter. We can find another guitar player and go on." By no means am I a pessimist. I'm like, we'll make it work. Well, drummer had other irons in the fire. He ended up joining Enough's Enough.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a kick in the balls, man.
Right. You had it right there.
So what do? Well, at the same time, I'm kind of palling around with that drummer again that I was in Chicago and at the open mic, right? He painted houses and he was kind of hanging out in South Bend a little bit, and we were jamming a little bit on the side just for fun. Well, John Sturr ended up passing away. And his friend, John Sturr, did he played bass for a Nazareth remake, basically.
Okay.
They had another singer. They had Manny Charlton on guitar. He was the only member. They had a friend of ours playing drums, and John Sturr played bass. They did Nazareth Revisited, basically, or something like that. It was only one member, but they toured and stuff. But the guy that was their tour manager became friends with me. He put this memorial together, and he's like, "You got to find some guys and put Praise the Fallen together and play his memorial. Play the songs you guys did." I was like, "Shit, all right." So I did that. And there were some people there from the industry and from Dallas and from LA. And they're like, "Man, this is some really good stuff. You need to keep this going." So from 2014 till now, I've kept Praise the Fallen going in John's honor.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm like, hold on, like everything that you
Did I talk too much? I'm sorry.
No. I'm applauding that.
Your perseverance.
Really?
Really.
Oh, dude, see how many times I wanted to give up. I went through memory.
From the very beginning until just where you ended for a second right there. Well, you didn't end it. I clapped and interrupted because I think there are so many people that start out just like you. They start out in band, they meet people along the way, but they lack something and they kind of give up, or they fall along, you know, or this band didn't work out and that band didn't work out. But you nailed it on the head that you're a optimist, not a pessimist. They're an optimist. And you have taken every closed door, every bad thing, and you persevered. You went above and beyond. You know, you just took that one little extra step. You put yourself in places on purpose. You know, it might seem by accident, but really on purpose is because you took the chance. You didn't just sit in one spot and say, "Whoa, me." You went out and did it. And that's why I'm applauding.
There's so many people that don't have that drive.
Well, I'm smart enough to know. I spent 10 years in South Bend knowing if you're going to make it or if you get in the industry, it's not in South Bend, you know. And something told me, you know, I don't know, something told me I wanted to travel. I wanted to see other places. And something told me that, you know what, you can think you're great in your hometown because you drew 50 of your friends and they come follow you around everywhere in town.
Right.
If you city where nobody knows you and your music holds up and you're pulling people in, that's a pretty good sign that you're on to something. And I wanted to test myself. I seriously, it's one of those things where you have a conversation with yourself, like, okay, Mr. Badass, you think you're so great? Well, let's go to a city where nobody even knows you and see how badass you really are.
Right.
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell, you know. And I started doing that, and when I did that, that's when things started to happen. When I joined Signal, I told him, I said, yeah, man, I'll join your band, but if you're looking just to play here, I'm not interested. I want to play out of town. I want to play Chicago. We got all the big cities around us. I want to do something. I want to make records. I want to make this a living, you know. I did try, you know, and I did and you grab straws, you grab people that say they want it, they're hungry for it, but then you got people who don't want to show up rehearsal, they complain about traveling, or they got a good job and they're afraid to leave their girlfriend behind and go on tour and stuff like that. I went on tour only maybe twice, you know. It was like a week tour, but still I had a taste of it and I loved it.
Right.
You know, I also had the taste of traveling everywhere when I was in Signal, and we drove all over the place. I was gone every weekend for like 7 years, you know, and I loved it. I never complained one bit. 26-hour drive down to Atlanta, not a peep out of me, man. I knew what the mission was, you know, and I'm very much that guy that's built for that, for sure. You know, it's just you ended up, you know, going with this person, believing this person. You end up, you know, I'm telling you the realities of some of this stuff. You know, I've had good players, but they just don't want to do it. They don't want to do what you want to do.
Right.
You know, after the record's made, you're like, okay, man, stuff's going to start happening. They're like, well, what do you mean? You know, I got a great job. I'm like, well, that's cool. You ever thought maybe you're not meant for that great job? Maybe you're meant to do this? You know?
I have the same problem.
No, I make good money. It's like, well, here I am working in a factory, living in an apartment going, well, this is my dream, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then it turns into, well, you know, it doesn't work out. That member runs off, and then they talk smack on Facebook that it was all your fault. And why? Because I got drive and you don't have the same drive I do. That's not my fault.
Right.
You know,
a few times.
yeah. You know what it reminds me of? I think there's something that is built in us, and it's probably something passed down from our parents, you know, like, you know, did you ever sit in front of the TV, you're watching MTV and you're like, I want to be that guy. That's what I want to do when I grow up. And, you know, man, I don't know about your parents, but mine were like, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, and it just seems like it's so hard or so out of reach. But is it really? I think, you know, as humans, when you're told, you know, it's a long shot, it's, you know, whatever. I mean, yeah, you kind of sort of try, but you really don't have that. I'm going all the way. Like I'm the greatest motherfucker on the planet. Listen to me. You know, because our parents beat us down, you know, not that they meant to. They just wanted us to go to college. They wanted us to, you know, get the white picket fence and all the stuff.
My mom's a good mom. I love my mom, but my stepdad was not a good person. He was pretty violent with me, and I grew up around that. And he was fight with my mom a lot. And I would honestly, music was also an escape for me, where I would tune that out, you know, and I would actually just go downstairs and put headphones on and play the keyboards to tune the fighting out and stuff like that. I don't mean to be negative whatsoever.
No,
and I hope
absolutely.
But it's true. It's kind of how it started for me. And I didn't even have a drum set. You know how Dave Grohl said he learned how to play drums on pillows?
Yeah.
I used to sit on the corner. I sit on a stool on the corner of my bed, and I would play drums to Rush albums just on the corner of my mattress. And then I ended up getting a drum set, and I played. I had a bar. I lived in a farmhouse in the middle of freaking nowhere in between Valparaiso and Chesterton. I don't know if you guys know Chesterton. It's a dinky ass town.
Not really.
Small town, man. There ain't no music. There is no music. There's no culture there. Really, there's no music scene there. And like I said, bands, there was a couple bands, and we would rent halls out to have shows, so people would come because there's nothing to do.
Right.
And I don't know, you just feed off that energy, you end up going, wow, man, I really like this, the way this feels. Cause I guess you grow up. My mom was a bartender and my stepdad was a steel worker. And I had a half brother and half sister, and I was the oldest one. So I was babysitting. So, kind of grew up on my own in a way, you know what I mean? Because they're working and I was taking care of them, So you didn't get a lot of attention. So you find adoration. You find people looking up to you. When you got this stepdad, he's violent with you, telling you you're going to be nothing, not to get crazy or nothing, but it was bad. All right. And this guy literally would, be really close to my face, telling me I'm going to be nothing. You won't amount to shit ever. I was acting out in school and that because of the way I was treated at home. I never went to juvenile or anything like that. I got smart. I got out of there and went to the military.
Right.
And like I said, not my mom. There's nothing against my mom. That guy though, yeah, I got nothing for him. But I also look at people like that. It's like, thank you. You made me.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Sometimes those things, they're unfortunate as they are, brings you to the person you are today.
I was in a small town. Dude, my half brother came with me when I opened for Stained. I remember looking at him. All these people look like ants, 14,000 people, right? I looked at my brother and said, how did I get here? Do I deserve this? My brother goes, hell yeah, you do.
Awesome.
But there was something inside me questioning that. And it might have been because of the way I grew up. You know what I mean? But here I am in front of all these people, biggest moment of my life, and I'm questioning, why am I here? How did I get here? And it was the fastest 20 minutes of my life, too. But once I had a taste of that, I was like, I'm going to do this again. Right. I like this.
Awesome.
I haven't reached that again, but I have. Since that, I've opened for a lot of nationals.
I was reading on some of them. Yeah, you've opened for a lot of heavy hitters. Some of my favorites too. So that's pretty awesome.
I would think maybe they know my name by now. I don't know.
But if you want, you can come back to the vault and visit us next month because Hinder's playing. Maybe they remember you.
Yeah, you guys are 3 hours away, so it's If I come out there, I'm playing. That's why I'm coming.
I don't blame you.
It's been tough right now as far as getting shows too, because a lot of venues, it's easier for them just to take on cover bands, or some of these tribute bands are guaranteed a crowd. I think it was before the pandemic, they got to make their money back. They're trying to make all their money back that they lost during that. And I think the reason why suddenly these tribute bands have sprung up. I've got nothing against them. I've seen some are really cool. I got a really good friend that's in one. He books me at the Hobart Art Theater.
They are doing pretty good right now. It is pretty popular.
Oh yeah. Praise the Fallen decided to sprinkle like 20 covers in our music too. And I started the Bosstel stuff. I started recording. I saw you guys had a reel up where a guy was talking about drums, program drums and all that stuff. Yeah. It's on studio and that. Mm-hmm. I started doing that during the pandemic. That's how the Bosstel band came about. I wrote all these songs by myself because I just had to be creative and productive. And I tackled learning this stuff because I was intimidated by it for the longest time. I would be like, I'll just go to studio, let somebody else do this, man. But I took it on. It was a good time. I was like, we don't know when we're going to return to shows. We didn't know what was going on. It was a dark time. I don't know if you know about what I went through.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that. I mean, we had talked about it before, but yeah, you got hit pretty hard down with the COVID.
Yeah, man, and it changes your perspective in life. Believe me, I'm very grateful. I see you also are sensitive to seeing people that are ungrateful. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, I used to be like that. I don't want to be like that. You know? Um, yeah, I almost died. 22 days ICU, and I was on oxygen for 3 months. I didn't know if I was going to sing again. I could barely walk across my living room. Um,
There's
and
that
I,
perseverance again there, though.
well, dude, I had to know. I was sitting on the couch going, man, I need to know. I had this song before I went in the hospital that I started. All I had to do is put vocals on it. I'm like, I got to know if I can sing. And I actually did this song while I was on oxygen to
Oh,
see if I could do it. And once I seen I could do it, I was like, all right, I'm going to be all right. Once I saw I could do it, my worry went away, you know. And some people say my voice has gotten stronger since, I don't mean to bring all that up, but it was a dark time and all that. But at the same time, it gave me a lot of time to learn that stuff. Cause I was like, man, one day I'm going to be too old to play shows, but I still want to create. I still want to write. I still want to make records. I still want to put songs out. Now, after all the trials and tribulations and bands falling apart and members leaving and all that, for the first time when I started Bosstel, I had no interest in starting a band. I was like, I'm happy doing this stuff by myself and just putting songs out. This is great. I had the freedom. Nobody's saying, hey, you can't do that. You can't put this out unless you do it on this date. And, that's how the guys were in Blind Spot. And I was just like, God, man, it's not the 80s anymore, man. You got to pump stuff out. You got to keep putting stuff out to stay relevant.
Yeah.
That's things are now. That's how it is. And if you can't keep up, you're going to fall through the cracks, Yeah. So I was pumping songs out all the time before Bosstel formed. It's a little slow right now. We're working on an EP and that, but we all got jobs and schedules, and we're learning to record remotely, which is something, this would be the first time we've done that as far as this band. I've done it with people, like I did it with Too Many Humans in London, the guys in Cleveland and stuff. And I worked with Brian Blush, who was in Refreshments. I had him play guitar on one of my songs. He lives in Arizona. And it's just fun, man, to create songs and collaborate with different people. And if you have a DAW, you can reach out across the globe, man, and you could hire somebody who's an actual national artist. And especially during the pandemic time when they didn't know what they were going to do, you could actually reach out to a national artist and say, hey, man, will you play guitar on my song? Yeah, I'll do that. I got nothing else to do,
right
Yeah, I knew people that literally, I mean, Zoom was around obviously prior to, the pandemic, but it's funny because people were literally Zooming their family members, but new bands were forming over Zoom, and they're having jam sessions, little writing moments here and there, during these Zooms. And I mean, I guess there are some good things.
Yeah, I did a little acoustic show, made an event page and stuff, my show. People were doing that too. I did a basement. I didn't see my guys for a while because everyone was scared. It's crazy. I'm glad like that now, and getting to my guys now. Like I said, I went through people. There are some people that just aren't cut out to be an original band. They think they want to do that. We had one guy that played with us. I'm still friends with him. He plays in a cover band and he likes to make money and that's his thing, whatever, but we're still friends. And then I had one kid who joined the band and said, wow, man, I didn't realize it was this much work. I was like, yeah, it's a lot of work. You got to be here at rehearsal. And, I think I'm regimented because like marching band in high school, I thought about this. I'm like, I think I'm regimented that way because, marching band, we rehearsed every week and we rehearsed all summer, to be the best we could be as far as competition. And I think subliminally, without even thinking about that at the time, me growing up that way made me who I am and gave me the drive and the perseverance, as you say, that I have. It's like, fine, guitar player, if you want to quit, that's fine. I'll keep my bass player and drummer. We'll go on as a 3-piece until we find the right guy. Nothing
Yeah.
stops. You know, I was like, fine, I'll just pick up guitar and start doing it myself. Even though I was like, man, I can't shred like Dave Mustaine or nothing. You know, just I want to play, man. I want to perform. This is what I do. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. You know, I've been performing, like I said, marching band, wind ensemble, concert band, jazz band. It starts there. You know, you become a performer, you know, things like that. And then after high school's over, what do you do? Well, I
Right.
guess I'll play rock and roll now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Performer.
Yeah,
As a
man.
performer. You know what I mean? Makes sense.
Absolutely.
You know
You
what I
know,
mean?
I do have a question. As you're going through your processes and you know, and some of the things that you learn like guitar and stuff, but writing music is amazing to me because I find it very difficult. And that was something that it sounds like you just started to do. And so what is your process like and how did you learn how to write? I don't know
What
if it sounds like a stupid question, but like,
What's funny about that is, you know, I think back to like when I was in band in high school and stuff like that. And I had, you know, and maybe the kids out there can check this out and listen to this. You know, if you're in marching band or concert band or whatever, and you got that guy who's a better trumpet player who's in first chair and you're in third chair and you want to be in first chair and you can't read sheet music, maybe you're gifted in another way. Maybe you have an ear. Maybe you don't even need the sheet music. You can hear what they're doing and just play what you hear. You know, and that's what I learned. That's what made me write the way I write is I just play what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. I just
Absolutely.
think something in my head, you know, I'm like, I'm going to find that on the guitar and just play it, what I hear in my head.
Yep.
That's how I do that.
okay. Yeah, and you know, and you're right. Like I don't even know how to actually say it because I mean, when I was in band, you know, I played just about everything, and it's always your goal when you're in band to be first chair. You want to be the best no matter what, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess there's some people who are just in it to, you know, it's a fluff off.
Some know, some people can read that sheet. Oh, that's a quarter note. That's that. I know all this stuff. That's cool. You have all this music theory down, but rock bands don't care about music theory, man.
Yeah,
Maybe Dream.
not really. I mean, I remember, you know, playing flute and it was like the instrument before I started playing drums. And I was like, you know, that Jethro Tull guy, like, you know,
Yeah.
like, but I'm sitting there, you know, working, pushing the ice cream cart, literally pushing an ice cream cart around the neighborhoods to pay for my flute class all summer long. My you know, and she was a flutist in New York, some symphony of some sort, but it was a big deal.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh my goodness, when you graduate, you need to come here, like, because I'm super fast, blah, blah, blah. But um, you know, sometimes you're right. You can hear something and be able to play it. It's not always you have to read the sheet music. And that's when I quit with the flute and I went to drums, it was exactly that. I was irritated actually when I had to read sheet music for drums. I was like,
Well,
ain't no drummer
I was
reading sheet music.
I was the same way with tenor. I played tenor sax in band, but I couldn't read music. I watched the guy sitting next to me. I watched his fingers. I heard what he was playing, and I basically picked it up like that.
There you go. You've got an ear then.
Yeah.
There's some like that are built like us, like that. And then there's some that are programmed like that, but they don't probably write anything and they probably don't even play the trumpet anymore. You know, I don't play it anymore. I don't even play it, you know, more. You know, I was decent, you know. Also, you know, when I was in jazz band, they have it's called improvisation, improv, basically in
Right.
jazz. Okay, you're gonna play a trumpet solo. What am I gonna do? Well, you just play what you feel.
Right.
Yeah.
And you, at a young age, when you do that, it's the same concept in rock and roll. You just play what you feel, man.
It's all about feel.
It does
Just
worry me.
my whole thing is just making sure, like Andy, my guitar player in Praise the Fallen, we were talking about this last rehearsal. He's like, dude, I remember when I was throwing song ideas at you when I first joined. I go, yeah, schizophrenia, dude. You know, he didn't know how to structure a song, you know, and he learned through me how to structure a song. You know, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good, but it needs some more structure. Send it back to me, you know. And now Andy can send me stuff he knows I'm going to like. It's structured. It didn't take him that long, but that's something that's a secret. That's a key secret to songs too. There's people you can write a song, but if it don't have no structure, I don't know, you know. And I personally try to get to the hook right away. I want you, when you walk out that door, I want you to remember me. I want you to remember you saw Praise the Fallen. I want you singing at least one of our songs the next morning when you wake up. I can't get that song out of my head. Well, I'm on to something then if I'm doing that. I'm doing a good job. You know what I mean? I know I like commercially viable rock music. I like stuff with hooks and stuff like that. So I pay attention to stuff like that. Also, like I said, growing up listening to Rush and a little prog music, I get bored with the same chords over and over and over again. I need some change in there and impress me. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be too technical, but you know, that's where I try to strive with the Bosstel stuff. It's like, you know, like Wayne said, he goes, you don't usually use like common chords and stuff in Bosstel. I'm like, dude, I just play what I hear, what I feel. I know it needs a bridge. I like breakdowns and stuff. This is what I can do. I'm limited. You know, I started late playing guitar and I was hard on myself at first, Stephen, when I first started doing this recording stuff. And this was 2020, man, when I started doing this Bosstel stuff, which was only 4 years ago. And I was like, man, you know, Andy, my guitar player, he's a shredder in Praise the Fallen. I'm like, man, I wish I could play like that. At first, I was hesitant to put this stuff out. And I was like, you know what? Just do what you can do. Do it the best of your abilities. And that's your trademark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. And I put out Bird and the Berry. I don't know if you checked out that song. That song's pretty simple. But one thing I'm good at is like laying down a rhythm and the overdubs, hearing stuff. Like I said, you hear stuff, you add this. Now, before I had a band, I might have had like 9 different guitar parts going on. And now when the band is like, well, we don't need all that, you know. It's like, no, but it sounds pretty cool, don't it? You know,
I was gonna say
all live, you know. Now I've learned, oh wow, yeah. Now that I have a band, I have to think like a band now. So I keep it a little more simple. But that's my go-to. I'm really good at the overdubs and stuff like that. Coming up with melodies on top of a rhythm and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? That's my sound. That's me.
Right.
I remember Rick Mars saying something like that. You know what? The way you play guitar is the way you play guitar. You know what I mean? That's you. You know, somebody else ain't gonna play guitar like you. You know,
It's like fingerprints.
right? You know, I don't. If you ask me Beatle chords and stuff, or you ask me what I'm playing, I'm like, I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have to actually watch my hands to learn songs from me. They're like, what are you doing there? You know, because I don't play like everybody else because, again, I just play what I hear in my head.
Right.
I didn't take lessons. Actually had a guy come over here and like, I said, man, I figure it's time to do the granny hands and stuff. And, you know, and he was like, bro, he goes, why? He goes, what you're doing sounds fine. You know, it's a little too late in the game now to be going back learning Beatles chords and stuff. I'm like,
Right.
Foo Fighters, and they do stuff like that. I just figure, you know, and little by little, I start figuring out my own way of doing things, and it works for me. So And I had people in my band going, dude, you need a $5,000 guitar and you need to do this. And I'm like, really? Why am I opening for these national bands playing the way I'm playing?
Right on.
Maybe because that's my sound, and it sounds like music to me,
Right.
Yeah.
That's another thing John said, when I did some songs after John went back to Dallas with that drummer, just him and me and a bass player. And that's when I learned how to do overdubs and stuff like that, and sent the song to John. I go, what do you think of that? He goes, sounds like a song to me. I was like, if it sounds like a song, then cool.
Right on.
And then with the Bosstel stuff, I like the loops and electronics and stuff because I wanted to separate it from Praise the Fallen. Praise the Fallen is 2 guitars, bass, and drums.
Yeah, the Bosstel stuff is, I mean, it's definitely different. And I mean, you could tell
It's fun.
right away, but it's cool. Like
Thank you.
I mean, I thought it was cool. I mean, I just before we hopped on here, like, I'm gonna listen to this one. I think I was sick and I can't remember what they were, but I listened to like 3 or 4 of them and I was like, man, I don't know what that is, but this sounds, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's the I'm driving to a concert music. I'm in the car with my friends, like,
Yeah.
like it's fun. It keeps you engaged.
I mean, I wanted to mess with that stuff. I mean, not so much Linkin Park or anything. I wasn't trying to go for that or anything. But I was like, man, if I'm going to do something else and I'm doing this stuff, you know, I like stuff like that. Let's go back to when I was in those keyboard songs and stuff. I've always dabbled with keyboards and stuff. And like, I like that stuff. And now with technology, you can do some really cool stuff. Like I did a remake of Jason Aldean's Rearview Town, and I put a trap beat in it.
Awesome.
On the Jamie, if you look up just my name on Spotify, there's songs that don't fit Bosstel and don't really fit Praise the Fallen. And I write a lot. So I kind of kept it in a more pop rock vein, that stuff. I was like, well, I'll just put it under my name then, because I mean, literally, dude, it's like a lab here in the bedroom here. I can literally pump out a song in a week, mix, match everything, and throw it up for streaming. It could be ready next week. I mean, that's how quick you can do things these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the song "World Out of View" is one of my favorites because it starts off with the dance beat and stuff. And I'm picturing what's that going to sound like on a big sound system, And boom, Bosstel played at the Vault first. We played there first, and we actually played. I have the poster right here with March Skies and Black Note Graffiti.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We played. There wasn't a lot of people there. I think there was a major concert going on that night, and we played there. And we had a good time, and it just sounded awesome. And right out the gate, we opened for Texas Hippie Coalition, Gemini Syndrome, Otherwise. Yeah, as soon as the band was ready, suddenly people were just like, dude, I don't know why things have slowed down a little bit right now. I think it's because some of it might be the tribute bands. It might be owners are concerned about draw. I hear times like, well, can you draw? I'm like, well, what's a band to do when you write your own music and you're trying to get somewhere? I need you to believe in me too, not just, the draw. I get it. You got to make money and stuff, but put us with 2 drawing bands from your area. I don't ask for, I never did music for money. Taking you back to band and stuff. I did music because that's all I've ever done.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never made a lot of money doing my own music. I haven't. And there are people like, well, I expect to get paid, man. I'm like, honestly, I don't.
Right.
I feel like there you can tell, I think, in the personality difference, I think, between the people who write originals and love to play versus the people that don't. They love the
Attention.
feeling, yes, the attention. And I mean, the people are different.
Or the majority just your average bar band that are just doing it to make some extra cash, for.
Right, man. It's exciting. It's exciting to take the songs like from here, like the Bosstel stuff starts with me. I do everything here with the programmed drums. Wayne, my drummer, has a studio. I send it to him, and then he replaces the programmed drums with real drums with him on drums. And then we basically redo everything in his studio that I already did here, but it starts with me all by myself. It's amazing to go from this to that to the stage and the response you get from something that you created in a bedroom studio is just wow, that's the exciting part for me. And like I said, I'm a performer, these venues, I've had venues like, well, I got to get you on something you're going to fit on. I'm like, what? I'm like, we're a rock band, man. What are you talking?
Yeah, there's a lot of that too, where, they want to put those shows together with everybody fits together. We had that discussion. We wanted to play this band or this show with we were in the Battle of the Bands to play with Green Jelly, but
Yeah.
our standard our type of rock really kind of didn't fit the bill, I guess, so they ended up going with something a little bit more similar. So that's that sometimes happens.
I think there's a lot of bands like when you listen to Octane, not dissing anybody, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm still liking the 90s and early 2000s stuff. At least those bands had their own sound. A lot of the bands are starting to sound the same now. They went to the same studio. They sound like they all went to the same producer,
Are you a Sleep Token fan at all?
I checked them out. I don't know, man.
It wasn't for you?
No, they're kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, their persona and everything like that, I can see, that it can be for some people can be off-putting, but the music itself, I really kind of dig it. It's just because it's like they cross many different genres of music together, and that it's a lot. There's a huge amount of fused music in there with them that I really kind of dig.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've only heard a couple songs. Maybe I'll check out some more.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Violets and Candlebox and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, those are always, that. And I grew up in the 90s, and I really didn't get into music until the grunge scene hit, and that's where a lot of my influence is from.
Well, like I said, growing up, my first cassette tape was Huey Lewis and the News, and then Prince, Purple Rain, and then it stemmed from that to 80s hair metal because that was at MTV, the hair metal bands and stuff. I just like rock, man. I'm a person that likes stuff that's high energy. Don't bore me. I don't know.
I know. I feel like we need to come down and find a karaoke bar and just blow everybody away.
I didn't like Smashing Pumpkins when they came out,
mm-hmm.
but now I respect for Billy Corgan than I did back then.
Right.
He writes everything, man. Kind of like me, Dave Grohl, same thing.
Oh, I was going to say something about Dave Grohl earlier because you were talking. Now, Dave Grohl doesn't really know a lot about guitar himself.
Right.
He approached it as a percussionist, and he plays guitar like he plays drums. So that's kind of what worked for him.
Right. I mean, Kurt Cobain wasn't the greatest, but people can say and diss him, Nirvana, but when I did the Too Many Humans thing and I did the vocals for them, I'm looking at the lyrics going, how the fuck did he think of this? I try to think of stuff that is a little more simple-minded, I guess, to where that stuff was like poetry.
Yeah, there's a play of words.
Stuff like, she eyes me like a posse's, it's like, do you realize what you're singing?
I found that in STP too. Like,
that guy was a lyrical genius, man.
Yes.
He was.
100%.
A lot of those grunge bands, man. That's why, because we were talking with a band or last week, and we were kind of on the same subject about the 90s. Is like a lot of the 80s hair metal and stuff like that, Guns Roses and like Metallica and Slayer and them all aside, but most of it was like a lot of show metal, and there wasn't a lot of depth in their music. And then when the 90s kind of hit, and then you started seeing a little bit more, they were simple chords, but the music spoke for itself. The lyrics and everything was more, it was deeper, it was more meaningful.
Everything, the world and things that are going on rather than partying and girls.
Right.
Sex,
drugs, and rock and roll.
Exactly. So what do you have? Do you have anything coming up? Any shows? Any things coming up?
Praise the Fallen, taking you back. I remember seeing Lynch Mob open for Warrant November 19th, 1992. I actually just looked that up. Actually, that's how I know that date. When was that? Okay. 1992, 31 years ago. I'm in the audience, and I saw on the Dog Eat Dog tour, Lynch Mob and Tora Tora opened for him. And when Lynch Mob came out, I was like, who is this? I didn't know who it was. And I saw that band. I was like, oh my God, that guy's awesome. The lead singer was Robert Mason. But anyway, I never thought 31 years later, Friday, July 12th, the Hobart Art Theater, Praise the Fallen's opening for Lynch Mob.
Excellent.
Dang.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Here you are. If you would have told me, hey, you're going to open for these guys, whatever, whatever, here I am opening for them. We've opened for LA Guns. We've opened for Puddle of Mud. We've opened for, God, man.
Non-Point was on there, Saving Abel, Tantric. And those are a lot of Smile Empty Soul, a lot of my favorites, man.
Some of these pictures you see on my wall, those are the shows I've done.
Awesome.
I've done a lot. And if I were to count between Blind Spot, Praise the Fallen, Arson Radio, all my bands, probably about 200 nationals I've opened for.
Is Arson Radio still?
Arson Radio, you can check out Arson Radio streaming on Spotify and all the streaming. Arson Radio was a band. Like I had said earlier, we were a band. It was a bad time. The economy was struggling. We were all struggling. We couldn't keep a bass player. We kept going through bass players, and we just got frustrated and disbanded, basically. Well, Jamie came back to me in 2020. He came back to me and he sent me a song. He tried to work with some other guy, I guess. And I guess he realized after working with that guy that I'm pretty easy to work with. Like, for instance, if Jamie says, hey, man, you're out of time there, or you're out of key there, I'm not one to argue about, oh, no, man, that's good enough. Let's send it out, bro. I'm very much like, okay, well, let's do it again.
So Jamie is your current.
What's that?
Jamie's current, right? He's your current drummer?
His name. And he is one of those guys. He writes all the Arson Radio music by himself. He sends it to me. I do the vocals and lyrics right here in my bedroom studio, send it back to him. He mixes and masters it. And we just put out 4 songs this winter. He plays softball in the summer, and he just realized after Arson Radio fell apart, he's like, man, let's keep Arson Radio as just a studio thing. He goes, if it's meant to be, the right guys will come to us. We're not going to go out of our way to go grab straws. That is the pain in the ass, dude. When you're trying to make someone do what you want them to do, when Jamie and I already have that magic together, it's like, we know what him and I can do. And Jamie is phenomenal. He is so good that it's actually hard to find someone to keep up with him. We had a hard time finding a bass player that could keep up with his playing. He is a little more technical and stuff. He's a shredder, man.
Yeah, is he the one that's playing on the Bosstel?
No, not at all.
Okay.
That's Dennis Kilton.
Okay.
Dennis is going to school online at Berkeley. I saw Dennis playing in another band. He's playing another band. I happened to go to his show, and I just thought he's a pretty chill guy. He definitely looks the part. He looks cool. He's a nice kid. He's 30. He's like 30. He's younger than me. He plays an 8-string Strandberg. Yeah. He's into like the metal and stuff like that, but he likes what we're doing. He's been very dedicated. I wasn't sure when I started Bosstel. My friend, his name was Ryan Kripe. Uh, he came back. He was in the military, retired from Marines, and he moved back here in the area and became an Elkhart County police officer. And he was like, dude, I want to do music with you again. Now, he played with me in 1997 in a band called Dig Pin, but we've always stayed friends. He said, we're going to jam together one day, you know? And he goes, dude, I want to jam with you again. And I go, well, what do you want to do? He goes, that stuff you've been recording, do this form a band. I'm like, all right, well, what do we call it? He goes, let's call it Bosstel. I'm like, oh God, I don't know. You know? And I was like, what are people going to think? Now I've, long story short, since Signal had split up and you see me go through members, people on the outside are automatically going to think, well, it must be him. He must be hard to work with. He's got a revolving cast of players playing with him. It's like, no, I'm just trying to find the right fit. You give people a chance, they blow it,
Right.
But with that being said, I've been bullied on Facebook by some people. I've been bullied by past band members. And that's also something that is formulated to be a distraction. And you could really let it drag you down, or you can sit there and go, all right, man, you obviously have a lot of time in your hands to be doing that. While you're doing that, I'm going to keep working on my producing, trying to get better and better and better at what I do.
Right. Yeah, when you realize that other people are spending their precious moments of their life thinking about you and whatever you have going on should almost make you feel good instead of the opposite. The words are just words, but they've spent so much time formulating those words in your honor. Like, I was sitting there thinking about you, and it's really unfortunate that when you look at bullying and how it is, you can be hurt and upset by the words, or you could be like,
grow from it.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you're spending so much time thinking about me, because I sure the fuck ain't thinking about you. But I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Out for me to get past it because of the way I grew up, and so you're sensitive to it. Yeah. You want everybody to like you. You're in the entertainment business. You want everybody to like you, and you got a handful of people putting bad things about you that aren't even true. Yeah. And you have a few people that follow them and believe them without even getting to know you.
Yeah.
So whenever you're doing something good and you're moving forward and making something yourself, unfortunately you're always going to have haters.
Oh yeah, bro, for sure. And haters make you famous.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we are going to go ahead and wrap things up. And Jamie, awesome talking with you, and we do appreciate you. And we're going to make sure we put all your social deets out there for everybody to catch. And I'll even add some music to the video so they can give you a little, what you're doing.
Oh yeah, we'll put a bunch of,
I got that Arson Radio stuff. I think you'll dig it, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you like Alter Bridge and stuff like that, that's what Arson Radio reminds me of.
Nice.
The song is called Become. And the lyrics, man, for some reason, the way Jamie writes, the lyrics, I'm a different person in Arson Radio. There's some depth in those songs.
And this is what I like about doing the podcast thing is, we're having a conversation, and we're learning so much about you. And some of the things, I guess you could do a quick interview and ask you a few questions, but, I would hope that when people are listening to the interview, that they've gotten to know you.
Right.
That it's more of a respect thing too. Like you get to go through it, and maybe if you've heard the music before, maybe you might hear it a little bit different now, or might mean something a little different to you. But I feel like some of the music that I didn't like growing up, or even some of the newer stuff, I found that I really liked it better after I watched like a documentary or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you get to know somebody.
Yeah.
So
Here, I'm the same
yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah. So I love this interaction, and I love, hearing your story and what people I hope are going to get. I think people are going to get so much actually out of this, because I think your story it's, I hate to say that it's not unique, because I feel like so many people really go through this, but they give up. And I feel like maybe some of those bandmates that you had that, they say they want it, but they didn't, maybe because they just didn't believe. And I feel like really, if there's anything that anybody really gets out of this, is sometimes, man, you just got to push through. And I know that it's scary, and people are assholes, man. The world has really become almost a dangerous environment,
Yeah.
but
South Bend.
if you stay in your bubble all the time, you're just, I mean, you can stay in your room and make music all day, but at some point somebody's
Yeah.
gonna want to meet you. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to leave the house.
Oh yeah. I don't do that. I mean, I'm
No,
out.
No,
no,
you're just saying in
and not
general.
you, but people
In
now,
general.
because now the kids they're staying in, but they're learning. I mean, parents are buying them $20,000 worth of equipment, and they're
Yeah.
staying home.
That's we were just talking about. There's a lot of laptop musicians out there now, and that are on the TikTok and all that stuff.
And the AI,
they don't really go out and to the world and do their thing, and
But it's like, you're never gonna be Taylor Swift if you don't get out of the house.
Well, like I said before, I kicked it around here for 10 years, just playing the local bars, thinking I was going to make it and someone was going to come to me. And then it hit me. I was like, man, if you believe in yourself that much, you need to go to a town where nobody knows you and really there and see what people really think. Somebody who doesn't even know, a crowd that has never seen you. And like I said, once I did that, that's when things started happening. I do want to say, because I didn't really give a shout out to my band members, the guys I have now in Praise the Fallen and the guys I have in Bosstel are good human beings. It's not just about being good musicians. Wayne's a hardworking family man. Dennis is going to school at Berkeley, to learn the music. He teaches. He's a teacher. He teaches kids how to play guitar. He's putting that out there. We need that. We need people like Dennis to say, no, AI, I'm still going to teach these kids how to play guitar. We still need that.
Absolutely.
Kids need to play music. They need to learn the instruments. My bass player, Randy Davis, he's a family guy. He's playing in both of my bands. He plays in Praise the Fallen and Bosstel because Ryan had hurt himself. He got injured when he was at his job, and he was down for a while, and I had Randy fill in. Randy did well. Everybody liked him. Ryan didn't want to come back. Randy stayed. So now I got Randy playing bass in Bosstel and Praise the Fallen. And great people. But I have went through the wrong people to get to the right people, and, I got my wife and I got married at my drummer's house. It's more than just a band. These guys are my brothers.
Awesome.
For sure. And I was looking for that the whole time, and I knew that. I had probably spilled on Facebook, I don't know how many times when I thought I had my brothers. I'd be like, I found my brothers. And someone would let me down. And I'd look like a fool, But I've been with these guys now. Randy's been with Praise the Fallen 2 years. And the other three have been with me, God, man, since 2018, 6 years now. And then Wayne and Dennis, Bosstel's been together 2 years, with the same guys. So that's important. Because like I said before, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find people that are going to do what I write. Because if I was going to do that Bosstel stuff as a band, they got to do what I already did. It's already done. It's already recorded. So I need somebody to play that. Dennis does that. He doesn't try to say, okay, we're going to turn this song into Megadeth.
Yeah.
I've had that. I'm like, no, dude, I didn't write it like that. It's like this,
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I know Steven's gone through that a couple times, and I think it's really ironic now. In his previous band, there was some songs that were really heavy, but now that the band is dissolved, he sits home and plays some of those songs completely different. Like it's not heavy, and then he'll sit on the piano or the acoustic or something, and I'm like, that's the song.
Right.
That's the hit. That's the song. Like there's the feel, like all those great lyrics.
You get with guys like, we got to be heavy, we got to be metal, man. We're gonna be another brutal metal band.
There's a lot of them.
Right, bro. Right. You know what's funny is my band Signal, we were a metal band. The song that got us across the country was the ballad.
Right. Well, people want to hear stuff that's more, that's, like that. That's from the heart. That's, it's some afflicted music, as I guess is what I would call it, stuff that's more emotion based.
How do you define heavy? Heavy and loud guitar and the riff is, you're shredding. Heavy can be a ballad too, where you move somebody.
Yes.
Move their head, and make
absolutely.
That's heavy too. That's how I look at it. I've experienced, actually put that out there and told people, all you metal bands out there, it might be the lightest song that gets you where you really want to be.
Well, that's why. Stained is still one of my favorite bands, and and no matter how much flack they get, Aaron Lewis is always going to be my favorite vocalist.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And their ballads was what blew them up. It's been a while song that blew Stained up.
Yep.
Double came out. Yeah, they got a little traction, but when It's Been a While came out, that's the song that catapulted them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ballad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, this has been a very, very good podcast interview. I feel like I've known you my whole life. I mean, just going through it, like you're just a normal guy, and you're strong-willed and confident, and you're a go-getter, and that has all the makings of all the great things that a band
musician,
a lead, the face of the band really should be.
After I went through the disappointment of that band falling apart, losing a record deal, the next band falling apart, coming close to getting a record deal, I had to dig down deep and go, why are you doing this? Why did you start doing this? Never lose sight of the reason why you did it. You did it because you like writing songs. You did it because you like to perform and you like to have fun. And I try to be, like you said, when you said to me, you feel like you know me and stuff. I just want to be a normal person. I want people to say, that dude's just a normal guy, man. He goes to work every day, but he rocks on the weekends, and he's got, why can't you? Because I submitted for Upheaval. I submitted for Louder Than Life. I submitted for those. Why can't I get on those and still work my job Monday through Friday and give me a shot on the stage? I guarantee you I'll bring it just as well as any national. I just want to be that guy where people say, yeah, man, he was just a down-to-earth dude. Because I've already went through the trying to make it and, trying to be some big rock star and stuff. Now I'm into it for the songwriting. I want
there's a
songwriting.
And you kind of said it, but it's why not me? Or why not me? And there's a tone there, and you're definitely in the optimist. Why not me? And I really, I can't tell you enough. I think that's really important, and you've got that. And I'm so glad that we got to do this, because I just learned so much about you. And I'm hoping that you're going to gain some followers here, because just going through now and listening to Praise the Fallen and the Bosstel stuff, makes me want to go find you and where you're playing next, and maybe we'll get some
Where's
new
that show?
shows.
What's the date of that show with Lynch Mob?
Oh, Lynch Mob, July 12th for Praise the Fallen, the John Yanni Band. Friday, July 12th at the Hobart Art Theater in Hobart, Indiana.
Okay.
And then Bosstel is open for Mick Blankenship. That's another guy too. If you look back, like when I started in 2020 doing the Bosstel stuff, he was kind of doing the same thing. I remember when he was doing a Stone Temple Pilots tribute thing or something, he was doing videos of singing covers and stuff. Then suddenly he started recording his own stuff by himself too. And I remember in quite a few interviews, he was looking for numbers too and wondering why he wasn't getting a following and stuff. And he was really putting his heart out there. I remember this. And now look at him. He got signed already. And now, the promoter at Pierre's in Fort Wayne, Indiana, told me that Mick requested Bosstel to open for him.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that tells me, I guess there are some people listening because, like, sometimes, how do I say this? I'm always posting stuff, on my Facebook, and I don't want people like, God, look at this guy. He's all about himself. He keeps putting his stuff out there. What am I supposed to do?
Right. No,
Exactly what you should do.
exactly. You're doing the right thing, man. Just keep posting.
It's hard to do the algorithms and stuff. I might get like 2 likes on a video. I'm like, man, I know this song's good. I know 10 years ago on Facebook, if you put something out, boom, 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 boom. Now suddenly, like, I'm getting 2 likes.
They wanted you to pay that
I know
that extra stuff, man, to defeat that algorithm.
Yeah.
it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It work, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think today I got 8. I counted 8, and who knows how many is on there now, by a guy that we interviewed a while back. And I mean, it just keeps popping up 8 times today, but guess what? I opened probably 3 of them. So
Right.
it's working, you got to do it.
Well, I'll run into people like, hey, man, I saw your video. I'd be like, really? You didn't comment? I didn't see a like. Well, at least I know you saw it.
Yeah.
Like, if you comment, then somebody else will engage.
Hit that like button and that subscribe button.
Right. If you engage, then they get other people engaging. And that, I'm not looking, it's not about attention or anything. It's about getting the song out there.
Right.
It's not, the song is king. It ain't about your ego. It's not about, I told my band members, that's what's great about my guys, man. I've worked with other people that they're like, well, I won't do that. And like, well, dude, it's not about you. It's about the song.
Right.
It's not about you. The song is king, man. I may do something I don't want to do. I wasn't sure, like I said, that Signal song, that ballad, when I told them at the campfire, I'm like, nah, we're not, dude, whatever. They were like, oh, it's my favorite song. I'm like, really? It's my least favorite, but it's everybody's favorite. So you go with it. You know what I mean? It's just like, song's king, man. But it's at the top of my Facebook. That's my slogan. The song is king. Check your ego at the door.
Right.
It ain't about you showing off or this or that. You got to do what's right for the song. Yeah. Basically, I'm saying, and Andy's really good at that. I mean, he could shred all the way through the whole song if he wanted to, but he knows when to do that and not to. Everybody knows their part, and it's for the song. It's not about
service the song.
But some people don't get that, dude.
Right. No, yeah. I was in the studio not too long ago, and I had to go through a couple of different drummers in order to find the right one for the song that I'm currently working on. So unfortunately, that sometimes it just how it goes.
Yeah, you got to do what's right for the song, man.
Yeah.
No hard feelings. It's not personal.
It's not personal. It's just business.
I like you guys. You guys are down to earth people too, as well. I knew that when I first met you, for sure.
Well, I mean, I think I got a little new perspective on a couple things, and this as far as this particular interview went, and it's maybe giving me a little extra like push on it. I think I might have I feel like maybe I withdraw a little bit because, it's like, when you're just starting things and, there's just, it's a big rock we're trying to roll, and I feel like sometimes we're rolling it uphill and My dad's voice keeps ringing in my head sometimes, like, like, what are you doing? Like, oh, that's great, but like, why? I mean, you're working so much, and Steven, I mean, he works 10-hour days, 4 days a week, and then in there we're doing these interviews. So then on his days off, when he's not doing band practice, he's editing, and it's so time consuming and tedious. And we're doing it because we love to do it. Like we love music, and we love musicians and their story and getting it out there. I mean, to me, if I could, I'd just like roll up in a van and go across country and just.
We talked about that. We're like, because my job is being eliminated at work, unfortunately. I don't know if you caught that post. And I have to possibly move. Well, more likely we're moving to Florida. And I was like, man, I don't want to move. So I was like, let's get remote jobs and jump in a camper and just drive around the country, be a roaming freaking podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably heard crazier things in life, but whatever. I mean,
that's the thing. People don't do things, but you've heard strange stories of how things took this person and that person, and they never expected it. Mm-hmm. That's why my perseverance is there, because it's like you don't know how it's going to land, man. Right. Just like when he's like, that guy said to me when I fired that guitar player for doing cocaine, right? I was like, dude, we can still make the record. I'll get another guitar player. The goal is to get the record done. It's not about him.
Right.
He didn't player, obviously. He's all about himself. So we need to get this record done. Me being an optimist, when he goes, we're not the Black Keys or Local H, bro. You know what I said to him? I said, who says?
Right.
How do we know it's not supposed to be this way? Right. How do we know how the cards were supposed to fall? You always hear stories like, yeah, man, we wrote that one song last, because we needed one more song. And that was a song that blew the band up, and they never expected it.
Yep. Right. I've actually heard that so many times.
Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Yeah.
They did that last, Warren, Cherry Pie, they needed a song. Yeah. He hates the song, but they did that song last. You always hear stories like that, you know. Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. They're like, we needed a ballad for this movie, and they were dead. They owed money and stuff. Like you said about the documentaries and stuff, check out the Goo Goo Dolls one, Behind the Music.
I might watch story. That's a new one.
Love the behind the music stuff. VH1 did that stuff.
Yeah.
I've always been inspired by those stories because I've got a story too.
Yeah.
Put me on.
Who I have to say it, who I probably watched this documentary 4 times on David Foster.
Who's that?
David Foster has produced, he was a studio musician.
Okay.
But he has produced and wrote and played with everybody. I mean, you would have to, you should watch it.
He's like Whitney Houston and
everybody,
a lot of the like a bunch of huge pop stars,
everybody
and rock stars, and a lot.
And he is so behind the scenes, but Chicago, like he is pretty much was Chicago without being in the band. But I mean,
okay, I know here.
Yeah, I don't know. There was something I think I'm bringing this up because there's something about you that reminds me of him. You're very similar as far as that drive, that when you're hearing something and you go with it, and that's the same gift that he has. You both have it. It reminds me of that.
Who's that guy that wrote that song, Somebody I Used to Know? You heard his story, right?
I know his song. I don't remember that guy's name. What was his name?
I can't remember. Somebody I Used to Know.
Yeah.
He did that song in a studio just like mine, just to do music. And that song took off, blew him up,
Mhm.
and nothing to do with the music industry.
Wow.
And
It's so crazy.
he wasn't even looking for that. He was just recording music. And I'm a strong believer. I still believe to this day that I mean, if people are actually I got a friend who invested in me with the Bosstel stuff. Like, he helped me with the computer and stuff like that. I call him my executive producer, my friend Randy. And Randy has said, he goes, dude, all it's going to take is one song for people to like you, and they're going to discover everything else you've done. And I've done a lot of songs, a lot.
And hopefully they'll watch this and know you as a person and be like, there's a whole nother reason to listen to it too, because you're a cool dude. You're a good guy.
Thanks, man. Some people don't think so.
I mean,
Well, that's too bad for them, man.
yeah.
They're lost and they are the wrong people. Trust me.
Right.
I think we're all a villain in somebody's book.
I posted, I made like a poster with all my stuff and the links. And if you saw, that's everything I've done. That's all the songs I have streaming is all right there. If people want to check out, like I said, I hope people aren't thinking because I put some songs out under my name and then I have Bosstel too. I was just tired of coming up with band names. I'm like, well,
no, I did the same thing. Like, I kind of, I was with this band, Suicidal Fish, and then things were just kind of weren't working out, and then I was working with this other band, Taylor Mountain. But the music that we do in Taylor Mountain is completely different from the stuff that I write. So I kind of just work with this band and we write stuff, but I kind of have to work with that band's writing style. So
right.
I have to kind of like, because I'm more new metal, in my writing style, drop tuning, and they're more classic, standard tuning rock. And
they're almost like a country rock.
Yeah, like a southern rock. So I kind of have to.
C sharp, dude.
Yeah.
That's what Fallen, Arson Radio, and Bosstel plays. And I just play and drop C sharp. Sometimes I wrote a song that's called Broken Frames. If you check out the Bosstel website, there's more songs on the Bosstel website. Mm-hmm. You can find more stuff. If you look at Reverb Nation, there's more stuff than is actually streaming. I've got stuff everywhere. I don't know. It just happened that way because I didn't plan on having a band and I was just putting stuff out.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever,
just keep doing it, man. However you want to do it. And I know other people, unfortunately, like I said, the more you blow up, the more people are going to hate on you. And it's unfortunate, but it comes with the territory. But as far as I'm concerned, you're doing aces, dude.
Yeah.
Started to do if you look too on my Facebook, I did this thing called Fresh Fridays. I just take and make a video. I play other people's music right there on my phone and I talk about it and critique it. Also proving to some of these bands that, hey, I'm listening to you. I'm checking your stuff out. And I'm a big supporter of bands that write their own music. And if there's any rooting you on and singing along, it's me, because I'm all about songwriting. I'm all about, oh yeah, I'll check your song out. Let's see what you got here. I love that. Mm-hmm. I feed off that,
But what we haven't done in a while is a
reaction videos. Yeah, we were doing some reaction videos for a little while, but then we kind of got sidetracked and we'd like to get back into that.
Yeah. If you come up with something we should listen to.
Well, we did one of yours too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did one. I think you did one with Praise the Fallen, but you can check Jamie Bosstel. You can check out Too Many Humans. There's Nirvana, but there's one song. It's called it's called Stars Are Made for Fallen. And I'm getting another one ready for them. Actually, tomorrow I'll be laying vocals down on this track they sent me. There's going to be 2 originals, but that's a Nirvana tribute. They put a thing out, said we need a singer to do this Nirvana thing. And then I ended up being the guy.
Awesome.
Like, everybody fell off and I ended up doing more songs than everybody.
And I've tried to cover I've tried to cover Nirvana songs, man. And some of them are easier than others, but some of them I just go, like, his vocal style is very unique.
I nailed it, man. Check out School. I did School. I did Very Ape. I did In Bloom. I did
Territorial Pissings is my favorite Nirvana song and always will be.
Every time you say that, did you say pissing?
Territorial Pissings. Yeah.
Well, the reason why it was called Too Many Humans is because they took vocalists from all over the world singing that's what his plan was. But then some of those people just fell off. They weren't as dedicated. I guess he hit me up with a song and be like, yeah, dude, done. 2 days, done. He goes, you already got it done? And be like, yeah, man. You're not used to people being motivated. I mean, motivated. I'm down. You hit the right guy up, for sure. I love collaborating with people. And that's also, I want to say, there's 3 songs under my name, just Jamie Bosstel streaming. There's one with Jeff Sorgenfry. He played guitar. He was a friend of mine. He actually ended up getting cancer. And I did a song with him right here in my studio. He played guitar. He did mainly these guitarists that have come in, they'll do a solo. Because I'll have the music all done, or the song will be all ready. I'm like, all you got to do is play a solo. Come up with a solo for the song. And then what I did for him, because he passed away, he literally passed away 6 days after he was here.
Wow.
I did it for him because he had always said every time we ran, he was like, dude, we need to do a song together. I'm like, we're going to make this happen. I heard he got pancreatic cancer. I'm like, dude, are you well enough to come do the song? He learned the song. He came here, recorded it. He died 6 days later. But before he died, I made sure it was on the radio.
Amazing.
I did that for him.
That's awesome.
I think I just seriously.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. And he is also the guy who filled on, when I told you about that John Stewart Memorial, when John had passed away, he was the guy I had fill in.
Oh,
awesome.
So he's real special to me.
I love you even more.
Of course, there are some people that twist it and say, oh, well, he was looking just to get attention. That's why he did it. No, I truly did it. I want to say, dude, I'm going to make you a rock star. You deserve it. I'm going to put you on the radio. I even told the DJ, don't even make it about me. This is about him.
Right.
This is about, I'm glad I did that. And then there's a couple there's local musicians that play in cover bands. And I'm like, man, you're really good, man. How'd you like playing one of my songs? Grab this guy named Aaron Rowe. Check out the song In My Blood. That song is awesome. Very Foo Fighters like. That's kind of the vibe I was going with, just the Jamie Bosstel stuff. That's why it's like, that don't fit Praise the Fallen. That don't fit Bosstel. But I'm coming up with pop rock stuff. I was like, well, I'll just put it under my name. Why come up with your name? I'm just going to put it. And of course, like I said, some people will be like, oh, this dude's all about himself. He's Jamie Bosstel. And I'm like, it's not like that, man. I just put it out. I'm pumping stuff out so quickly that I'm just like, I want to put something out. Well, I'm not going to come up with some stupid band name. It's not a band. It's a studio project. And what's different about it is I'm collaborating with other local musicians that are even just playing in cover bands. Like, if I see you're a great player, come to my studio, throw down a solo on one of my songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are great players out there, man, that deserve recognition. And that's also why I do it. I also look at some of the past members. I will say this too. Maybe they'll watch this. I want to say to you, you're gone or whatever, that you're gone. But I want you to know that when you were with me, I wanted to make your dreams come true for you too. I was all about putting you on a big stage with me and making your dream come true too. It was never just, what I mean? I really care about, when I counted them, like, man, they need to be seen. I tell Jamie all the time, I go, dude, you need to be on a stage. You need to be seen. You're amazing. The world needs to see you. I think I'm the guy who can help you get there, and I feel I've done that for some of these musicians that turned on me and turned into, oh, you're all about yourself and you're all about being a leader. I'm like, well, somebody's got to be the leader, but I'm a team leader, man. I'm not some guy going, do what I say or you're fired, or I'm not like that. It's like, we're a team, man. Let's do this. Let's rule together, let's make it happen for you and me. It's not just about me.
Right.
So, do that.
Well, Jamie, again, thank you for being on Toon Talk with us. We do appreciate it. And it was great to get to know you a lot better. And we feel that we do. Absolutely. And it was excellent show. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Video stuff. Check out all that stuff. If you want to do reaction video on that stuff, I'd like to see your faces when you listen to us.
I mean, because it's truly, our first reaction, and that's what I love it. So, all right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as we did. We appreciate you. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys so much. And always remember to
Keep the music playing, people.